And I'm Amy Smith. We begin tonight with the story of a pay packet most Nova Scotians can only dream of. More than $900,000 tax-free.
The employee, a hard-working native band counselor. Paul Withers has tonight's top story.
Well, Tom, the Canadian Taxpayers Federation has released what it says is a list of remuneration paid to native band chiefs and counselors in Atlantic Canada, including one counselor who was paid nearly $1 million in 2008. The Canadian Taxpayers Federation says in Atlantic Canada, band counselors and chiefs are doing pretty well. In 2008, 31 First Nations politicians made more than the premier in their province. According to researcher Colin Craig, the worst case in the country was in this region.
We're not sure what province it is, but there was a politician there that made about $978,000 tax-free. So that's the equivalent of about $1.8 million for someone off reserve.
Craig says the information comes from Indian and Northern Affairs, released through federal access to information. At the reserve in question, the chief pulls in $243,000, one counselor $978,000, two others over $200,000. Where that is, we don't know. The data released to the Taxpayers Federation only identifies reserve by population. The reserve with the expensive counselor had a population of 304. According to Nova Scotia's Office of Aboriginal Affairs, the Glooscap band outside of Hantsport also has a population of 304. Even though the population numbers point to the Glooscap First Nation, we're not certain whether it is in fact the highly paid council. Indian and Northern Affairs would not tell us when we asked them to identify the reserve, nor comment on the accuracy of the data, and no one from the Glooscap band responded. Two other reserves in Nova Scotia are similar in population. The Taxpayers Federation says greater transparency is needed, including posting salaries online.
It's supposed to be to help the people there, grassroots people, not to get scooped up by politicians at the top.
On Nova Scotia's largest reserve today, this band councillor is campaigning as a reformer, saying results are already showing.
Chief used to get paid $140,000 and $30,000 a year in travel, which is about $170,000. And when I cut that in a motion, it brought it down to $70,000 and $15,000 in travel budgets. That's it. That's what it is today.
Now, the position of the federal government in all of this is that salaries are set by individual reserves, and it's not something to be disclosed to the Canadian public at large. Today's Canadian Taxpayers Federation initiative coincides with a private member's bill currently before the House of Commons that would force the disclosure of more information about native salaries and perks. Tom?
All right, quite a story, Paul. Thanks very much. Paul Withers reporting from our newsroom this evening. Want to get your point of view on this? What do you think of the salaries? You can call us toll-free, 866-420-4551. And there's our email address, cbcns@cbc.ca. We'll have your thoughts tomorrow night at around 5:25.